How did David Stern change the NBA, and what do you think of how he did it?
You will hear glowing tributes all day on this network and other networks about what we can all agree by consensus is one of the greatest leaders in the history of American sports. But what he did more than anything that makes him the name that he is today after his passing is he turned that from a small, struggling business into an exceptional, extraordinary business with fixed costs for his owners that made them go from something that was tape delayed during a finals in the 80s to something that is now so global that the world knows what it is. David Stern did that. That's his imprint.
Yeah, David Stern also, it should be said, believed in, established, and was committed to a women's league that has been allowed to thrive and grow in a way that women's professional leagues in this country have not experienced in the past. In terms of the NBA, he was just able to see potential in things that other people couldn't see. Like Dan said, they were airing the finals on a tape delay at 11:30 at night when he came in, but he saw it as Disney. He said as much himself. He said, they have parks, we have arenas. They have characters, we have players. And he allowed the players to be the central focus. We talk a lot about NBA Twitter and this phenomenon of people online being very tuned into the NBA. David Stern played a hand in that. This generation, my generation, grew up watching Saturday morning cartoons. And after that, we would watch Inside Stuff, which was NBA footage that was negotiated by Stern to air then so that kids would see it, kids would buy into this league. And I think that's a huge part of why it's experienced such a boom right now.
Well, I think the question alone, how did David Stern change the NBA, tells you so much about what David Stern did. Because most of us, I would say this to be honest, most NBA fans don't remember what it was like before David Stern. This is the current league that they remember. People call themselves 80s or 90s baby. I call myself a David Stern baby because I grew up watching that league and it created who I am as a person, as a professional rather, because I wanted to be a part of it, because they pressed and they advertised the stars and they made it seem like so much fun. And the entire time he was doing it, he never felt like somebody that I welcomed or somebody that I championed. He felt like a parent or a principal that you were afraid of all the time, because if David Stern came knocking at your door, it meant a fine, it meant some sort of an argument. Even when it came to press conferences and asking David Stern questions, there's probably nobody I've been more nervous about asking a question to than that man, because he was so prepared and so confident and just so good at responding to all these things, even if you thought it was an obvious solution or an obvious question. Even something as simple as the dress code. At the time, it seemed like a parent who didn't know what it meant to live in the hip-hop culture. And now it's being championed as somebody who had a foresight, who made the NBA into a fashion-forward organization because their players are forced to dress a certain way. It seemed like everything David Stern did had sort of a progress to it that we couldn't see. He was a visionary, and there's no other way to put that.
You call yourself a David Stern baby?
I do.
That's a good point by her. That's a strange thing to call yourself. It's a strange thing to call himself.
More of an
I get your point. It's a beautiful point.
It's
weird to be a David Stern baby.
I'm a David Stern baby.
Man, I would be in good shape if I was a David Stern baby.